the blues or the lockdown rules get you down, join the cardio boom. Come along to our twice weekly Dyspraxic online workouts on Zoom. Participation is 100% free of charge and is brought to you courtesy of Dyspraxic Help for You Fitness and myself, Dyspraxic Cardio King Mike, aka Mike Nelson. For more information on how to take part in a group exercise that is tailored to your fitness and ability, just search for Dyspraxic Cardio King Mike, as well as Dyspraxic Fitness on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Or you can email me at dyspraxiccardioKingMike@gmail.com. Struggling with your DIY, we can do it for you. Decorating, tiling, window care, bathrooms, kitchens, en-suites too. Commercial and industrial, RFDPM does it all. Roofing, fencing, landscaping, why not give us a call? RFDPM, covering the southeast of England. Please call 07958 249 781 for a free, no obligation quotation.
MJ Carter is an actress, presenter, model and influencer from Liverpool who is an advocate for dyspraxia, healthy eating and mental health awareness. In this episode of the podcast, she discusses coping with her dyspraxia, anxiety, mental health and becoming a weight loss champion. She hosts her very own talk show on YouTube called Drinks with MJ, and most recently appeared on Channel 4's Lose Weight Like Me.
Hello MJ, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm well, thank you very much. It's been like my busiest year. Yes, since lockdown, I just haven't stopped. So I can't complain. It's been, for a lot of people, a terrible time. But I find I get through it and I keep my head on, and I just keep going. I keep being busy, and that's the way I move forward.
Oh, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear it's been a good year, good 2020 and 21 so far for you. May I begin by asking about your childhood and upbringing, please, if that's okay?
Of course. So I was born in April 1995, the same day as the Queen. And a real birthday though, not like the other one that she has in June, the real McCoy. And I've always loved performing arts. I just remember just being fascinated by the TV, and I'd sit in front of the TV for hours and just love arts and singing, and I just fell in love with it so when I was so small. And then I got diagnosed with dyspraxia when I was 5 years old. But I've always loved the arts and stuff like that. But it started for me, my dyspraxia, really, my mum noticed it when she noticed something when I couldn't crawl. She put me on the crawling rug when I was really, really small, when I was a couple of months old, and she set the rug out, she had the camera there, my dad had the camera, and all stuff like that. And I couldn't crawl. So they just was like, right, okay, maybe it's not today, might do it next week. So, they moved on. And then a couple of weeks came, they tried again, they were excited, they were like, come on, you can do it, Emily, you can do it. And I couldn't do it, couldn't crawl. So my mum was like, right, okay, maybe my baby's just not, maybe she'll crawl when she crawls, that's okay. So, time went on, I went to 3, 4, and it was when I was in school, when I was really, really young, reception time. The school actually noticed there were certain activities I couldn't do. There was, I really struggled with PE, art, how I held the pens. The school just picked up, and we thought, right, there's something here, something that we just need to look into. So the school psychologist pulled me mum in when I was 5 years old and said, we've done our tests, Emily has dyspraxia. And going from there, I just remember since that day of going in that office, everything changed. I was in and out with the doctors every couple of weeks, just doing assessments and walking. I just remember walking in lines and just loads of things. And it was a very, very scary time. And when my mum when the school did say, you know, Emily's got dyspraxia, she was terrified, you know, she was scared. No one ever heard of it. Even like today, you know, there's so many people who haven't heard of dyspraxia. They go, what? Like, it is a mouthful. So
Yeah.
it all started from there, really, at very, very small, young age.
So when your family found out and they, like you said, they told people, did nobody at all other than the GP know what dyspraxia was, or was it just a complete surprise? And what's that sort of thing?
Yeah, no one around the time really heard of it. Dyslexia is, you know, it's so common, but dyspraxia, like my mum couldn't even say it. She was like, what's this? And then, you know, we got to the doctors and stuff, and they explained it like more, and then growing up, you know, not a lot of people know. A lot of people like didn't know that I had dyspraxia, apart from like a few, obviously my mum, my dad, a few like close family and friends. But like this year was my year of coming out of, you know, just like, and you know, sharing with the world that I have dyspraxia, because it's so important. It's me, it's who I am, and all the things that I've done in 2020 and up to now. People have, you know, my story, you know about my weight loss, you know about all the things, my theatre background, but I thought to complete the full circle, the whole of me, I need to share this with the world, and it felt like the right time. But so growing up, I was very, very sociable. I had a lot of friends. I was always involved in the school, you know, the school plays, the theatre, the singing, and I was one of them. I was first in the class, in the drama room, and I was the last out.
That's interesting to hear, like how, you know, you was quite a social child, and like you seem to like grab things by the horn and just go for it, and it's quite inspiring. And also the fact that you that's okay, you said how you had that coming out moment where you sort of told the world about dyspraxia. I can relate to that. I had to sort of start, like I kept it a secret from my own partner for 4 years.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I just made out I was being like joking around, like purposely breaking things, and like just having a laugh, instead of actually, no, this is actually a disability. I'm actually incapable of doing certain things, and I'm not deliberately doing it, but I was covering it up by making out I was. And
that's tough. That's really tough.
I felt like I didn't tell even my own school friends growing up. They knew I'd help in school, but they probably presumed it was like dyslexia or other stuff. But I never really went around saying the word dyspraxia until I told my girlfriend. So I pretty much spent most of my life sort of just keeping it to myself and my family. And I swore them to secrecy, not to tell my partner, because I felt that embarrassed by it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, of course, I can completely relate to that.
But the thing is, when you actually do tell the world, it's not that bad a thing. It's actually like,
oh my God, it's so liberating. It's so liberating. I feel like, as you've just said, you feel like you can do anything now. You know, for so long, for like 20 years, I was carrying this, like, I don't want to say burden, but it felt like I just wasn't being the full me. And I'm the same. I've been with my boyfriend almost 2 years, and I think very early on, I told him, well, to be honest, it was really like, I'm so glad he stayed around, because I've lost 8, when on our first date, I've lost 8 stone. And then he got, I've lost 8 stone. And then a couple of drinks later, I'm dyspraxic. So I don't know how Andy, my partner, never ran him. You know, I should have been like, go on, but he stayed around almost 2 years later, so I've got a good one.
Oh, you have. You've got a good one there. Well done. Nice one. Love it. I was kind of expecting my partner to sort of, when I told her, she's really understanding. And I felt bad because I felt like maybe she felt trapped because I've sort of not told her, and now she knows. But it's like, it's no different. Nothing's really changed other than that she knows I can't do certain things. So rather than ask me to do it, she might go and call her dad to say, do you mind putting this up on the wall, or do you mind, you know, changing the tyre on my car, or, you know, I don't have that like burden on me as such. She doesn't need to. She knows not to come to me about certain things, and you know, there's some things I could do better than other people, but it's just like
absolutely.
It's because she knows my strengths and weaknesses now. I think that's all it's about, really. When someone knows you're dyspraxic, they will learn about your weaknesses, but there's plenty more strengths that we got that other people might not have. So it's worth sharing for sure, because you'll find most people will be supportive and understanding. It might take them time, but they will get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting as well because like Andy, my partner, and a lot of people that I've spoke to, they want to know about it. And it feels, it's a great thing for them to be like, oh, what is that? And I seeing like they're looking online, and it's very, very interesting. And there's so many other, there's so many like people out there, other people, there's celebrities. It's a very rewarding, liberating feeling, and I'm so happy that I did it.
Definitely, it's been sort of empowering to be part of the community and sort of get the word out there, because I feel like it's sort of down to us to make the next generation aware of it, so that they don't have the same problems we encountered, and that they'll find that most people will understand it or know of it because of the work we're doing. I hope so.
I think in like jobs and stuff as well, and there's certain things I've had like bar jobs and waitressing jobs and stuff like that, and like going into somewhere when I first started like a job, like a bar job, say, I was so scared because something like that, it's all with your hands, isn't it? And it's like a fiddly thing, pulling the pints and like the measurements and stuff, and that's what I struggle with, really, like measurements, hand tasks with my hands, even to like this day. Just the gross and the motor fine and the gross motor skills. So going into somewhere, the first like job, I was like, I had to do what you said previously, like just act. I just felt like I was just like a bit of a joker, and it's looking back now, I feel like that was just there was no need for me to do that. I could have just said, but then again, like we're at that time where when we got diagnosed, no one had ever heard of it. People were like, what? And there's still a stigma these days. It's called like the clumsy disorder, and just so many like distasteful phrases and stuff. And that's what I want to do with coming out this year and being open, that you can do so many things in your life, still live a normal life, achieve everything that you want to do, but you can have these hidden disabilities and do that, and that's what's important to me.
Definitely, and that's why I thought of the idea of this podcast, to get people like yourself, that other people can aspire to sort of follow in your footsteps, and sort of know that you can host your own chat show, you can act, you can dance, you can do anything you like.
Absolutely.
With Dyspraxia, unfortunately, we've got it. We might as well make the best of it.
Definitely, and it makes you who you are, though. Like it's in your makeup, I think. Because how old was you when you got diagnosed?
I was 4, and that was 1994, and then
was it okay?
Yeah, and then I had an adult diagnosis again in 2017 for work, and it was sort of that re-diagnosis sort of helped me come out of like and sort of open up and realise it is what it is. Because I spent a lot of until 2016, I guess I just didn't tell the world, and then that adult diagnosis and needing to tell work and sort of get help. That was the sort of thing for me that sort of said, no, enough's enough. I need to sort of draw a line in the sand and sort of express who I am better. Because
I think having a child diagnosis, like you were 4, I was 5, it didn't you grow up with it. So all your like things that you do, or your mannerisms, or your movements, because I'm assuming it's like you're like me, you have when you get up, your routine, and when like your dyspraxia is heightened. I know if I can wake up one day and the minute, I think it just comes with having such a diagnosis as a small child. We know our bodies, we know our minds, we know like each lobe of the brain, what's working, and I know if my dyspraxia is heightened that day, so I go, right, okay. And I think now I've been diagnosed for 20 years, I go, right, I'm going to take a step back today. I'm not going to do certain things today. I'm not feeling it. And that's coming to terms with who I am, my disorder, and knowing myself, and being at a point with my disorder now and my disability that's okay. That's okay, because tomorrow's a new day, and you may feel better. So it's about finding mechanisms and coping regimes to move forward, so anything is possible. Yeah,
and it's interesting because it's like you tell people and you say, well, I kept it a secret, and they probably go to you, well, why did you do that for? And you kind of expect them to say, well, you should have kept it a secret, but then you kind of surprised that they've actually said, well, no, we would have embraced it as much as you've embraced it. It's like, it's quite contrasting to see that people actually do want to support you. And
absolutely.
all it takes is I need help, and you'll find most people ask for help in general life anyway. So
Yeah.
what we're asking for isn't really much different, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you moved home quite a lot growing up and changed primary schools 3 times. That must have been somewhat difficult, given we don't like change as much as sort of a normal person who would cope with change quite easily. We kind of struggle with that. How did you find it?
It was a crazy time because we were moving around a lot as well. When I was younger, we lived in loads of different houses, and I went to 3 different primary schools. So it was the routine, you know, of like going in, because when you're any young kid, you go into it. Even like today, you know, like when you go into like a new job or something, you are like the new toy for like a day and stuff like that. So it was just about like going, right, okay, this is a whole different situation. But even though, as you've just stated, that we don't like change really, and change does feel really like, oh, it just doesn't come natural, does it really?
No.
And so, but I've always been a sociable person, so I've always just thrown myself in for a penny, in for a pound type of mentality. That's the way I've always been. I've always just gone into it, and I think because I've always had that element of arts and performance, and I always even never felt nervous. I always just went like, right, I'm acting. I'm in a situation where I'm acting and performing, and just got through it that way, you know, and just found myself, you know. And I believe everyone's an actor. We're all actors, you know, and just going into that situation to go, right, today's an act. This is an act. You feel good. You're going to be fine. So it was just putting myself into it really. And I've always, you know, went in the 3 different primary schools. I made some good friends. I had a good time. And secondary school, I only went to 1 secondary school. I stayed my time for the whole time there. It was great because I had a good relationship with my drama teacher and my music teachers. They were fantastic. I had a really good English teacher, and she really helped me a lot with, you know, the exams and the English exams and stuff like that, and like my handwriting and things like that. So I've also being a sociable person, I think and the arts, and, you know, having that influence of being a presenter and being able to talk to people, which is a gift that I am very, very, very grateful for, to have that gift of being, you know, being able to talk. And so just putting myself into everything, just being there, being present, and just enjoying the new adventure. I love adventure, I love experience, and I love the art of conversation, if you haven't guessed. So just putting myself into everything, that's what it was good for me. And then in year 9, I really, the school started noticing that, like, you know, I was really serious with the drama, the GCSE drama. And the first play that I ever did in the school, we got to school, £5,000 worth of like equipment, microphones, music equipment, music facilities for the arts. So that was fantastic. And then from there was a school play every year, sometimes twice a year. And of course, until I left, I was involved in them. So I had a really good time in secondary school. It was fabulous. It was a really good experience, and I found my own personality. And still, you know, my friends in school at the time, they wasn't aware of dyspraxia. The school system was, but I never had any extra help. I never had any extra like lessons and stuff like that, or assistance. So I got through it. I got through it somehow.
Oh, that's good. So did you find though that moving schools quite a lot, well, in primary school and moving home, sort of, if you had stayed in the same primary school throughout your primary schooling, and would you have found that you would have had, did you change friends quite a lot as well, having to move school? And then do you reckon if you'd stayed in the same school as in primary school, you would have been able to sort of open up about dyspraxia earlier? Or did the fact that you had to change schools meant you made new friends and you never got to sort of trust anyone that early on?
That's a really good question. I think because I got diagnosed so young, I never really understood my dyspraxia. I was always aware there was something different and there was something there. But I just thought, I'm a theatrical person, so I just thought, you know what, it's part of my authenticity and it's part of me and what's in my makeup. So I was always aware of, you know, there was something different and there was something there, but there was never when you're young and stuff, it was never brought up. I felt like I never needed to bring it up, because when you're young, you're just playing, and I've always just been a sociable person, so it never really affected me a lot when I was younger. Obviously, of course, like certain tasks at home and certain, you know, the the way your mind and your thoughts and your perceptions feel on the day with your fine and motor skills. But it was when I got older, when your life, you get older and life moves on, you start to notice, wow, this actually does affect, it can affect and alter your life. And now I just feel like it's about working around around the disorder and moving myself forward, and knowing that if my dyspraxia is heightened on that day, I take a step back, I breathe, I have a couple of minutes, and then I move on. And that's, for me, is just like how I cope now, 20 years been of my diagnosis.
Sure. And I liked how you said how every day is sort of an act. If you think about it, we're acting all the time, because we're either hiding it or trying to make excuses for it, or just trying to be somebody, sort of pretend it's not us, it's somebody else. And I can sort of go along with that myself, because I always felt like, certainly at work or with my partner and stuff, I was sort of putting on an act every day. So sort of, it wasn't me, it was me being a joker, or today I'm going to be this Billy, manager Billy, or it was never me. It was always an act. And I can fully understand where you're coming from with that. And it does sort of, from the other dyspraxics I've spoken to, they kind of say it's like it's tiring because you're not yourself, and you have to be.
You know what? It must be exhausting to like put an act on all like the time. It must be so like exhausting. And I think, you know what? Life's just too short. We're not here long enough to just like not be our authentic, real selves. I haven't got time for it. And you know what? I'm in a different place, and coming out in 2021 felt like the right time for me. And it wasn't that I was ever hiding, me disorder or anything like that, but it just never felt like it was ever brought up. It never needed to be brought up, so I just moved on as me, and it makes me who I am today. And I'm here, I'm strong, and I've done so many amazing things in my lifetime, and there's going to be so many more amazing things I want to do. So it's part of my makeup, it's part of what makes me me, and you know what, for that I am grateful.
Oh, that's good to hear. I'm definitely glad you came out to the community and the world, because it's a better place for it, that's for sure.
Thank you very much.
No, that's okay. So we know that you was born on the same day as the Queen, but how was your childbirth? Do you mind me asking? Do you know much about it?
No, that's well, I was a month premature, so I was meant to be born in May. I think like the middle of May, so I was a few weeks premature. And I was born, my mum said I was born in like an hour. She went into the hospital, but I turned when I was coming down the birth canal, I turned. I think it was a vasalic position or something like that, I think it's called. And I just turned, and then the midwives managed to like turn me another way, and I managed to turn. And I had a natural birth, but I was born in like an hour, and I had a great childhood that way. I had two loving parents, and I've been very, very grateful for. And growing up, I was always like laughing and smiling, and I had a lot of time for people. And I think that's why I do what I do today, because of that. That was just in me. I did there's a scan photo, actually. I wish I could show you. I definitely will post it on my social media sometime. And like the scan photos that like you go for, like when the baby's growing, I'm doing like this. It's just something. So I thought, yeah, right, this one's going to be trouble.
Well, if I was you and I was born on the Queen's birthday, I would have demanded the second birthday, because
it's not too late. I might do that. I might start saying that, or celebrate it for the whole of April.
I think because of last year, everyone's going to be celebrating their birthday again this year. Like,
we're
going to all go with a long birthday. So, what were your teenage years like then, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so my teenage years, I used to go to a group of a Saturday, and it was like a performing arts, all singing, all dancing, cabaret group of a weekend. I would go to that because I just fell in love with acting and performing and the whole like feel for it. So of a Saturday for a couple of years, I used to go to this performing arts group, and it was that dancing was always my weakness, because it's like the rhythms and the balance and the coordination is what I struggle with. But I come through it. And so there was a dancing session it was like throughout the day. It was, you do singing in the morning, a bit of acting in between, come back, do the rest of the acting, then like dancing maybe like later in the day for like 4 hours. And I used to go dance. I used to go, and I used to just, and it was like a big studio, like ballet room, and it was like mirrors on the walls, and mirrors like everywhere, so you could see everything. You couldn't miss a trick, pardon the pun. And so I just was like, oh my god. And I actually was like, I just couldn't grasp it. I just struggled with the dance and the rhythm, the technique, and there was people there who've been dancing since they were like in the womb. So I was just like, okay, you know, like, right. But I still, do you know what, I managed to do it. And I think I was very honest with the dance tutor at the time. I was just like, this is just, I am struggling with this, but I did go for it. I was energized, and so I'd done that for quite a couple of years. And then when I went back to school, when I was 14, I did a school play, so I was in the choir, and I just loved being involved in things, like especially like stuff with the arts and performing, and you know, show business type of esque. So I've always been like involved in all stuff like that, and you know, going out with my friends and things like that. I was always very, very, very sociable. So I had a great teenage years, but my confidence, even though I was confident with the acting and the performing and stuff like that, I was never really fully confident in myself, in my body. And in 2016, I gained a lot of weight. I thought it was going to be the year that I was going to pass away. My health deteriorated so badly. I put on 8 stone. I had really bad, my health was deteriorating. I was suffering from chronic dizzy spells, chronic fatigue, palpitations, just in a really, really dark time. My health really it took a battering. And so I was going through that from 2015 to the start of 2017, put a lot of weight on, just lost my whole identity, didn't act and perform for like a year. It got heavy. It got really, really, really heavy. And in my mind, I was thinking, I'm gonna pass away this year. This is gonna be the year that I got that like bad. And even like when I was going out and I was at my biggest, I was 17 stone. I was seeing people who I knew from like years, who've watched me grow up as a teenager, as a child, family, friends, like distant relatives and stuff. And even though I was in this like dark time in myself and in the way I felt, when I saw people that I knew, I still tried to be like, it's me, it's Emily. I still tried to put that facade on of like, I'm okay, because people who've knew me like all my life and watch me grow up, they know I've always been that type of bubbly, outgoing type of fun person. And when I lost my identity in 2015-16, I still wanted to keep that facade up. But I've come through it, and I'm so grateful. All the opportunities that I've had, my weight loss journey and lifestyle transformation made it around the world. It got featured on the Daily Mail online, the Daily Star on Sunday, Take a Break magazine, Love It magazine. I've just made a program with Channel 4 called Lose Weight Like Me. I was a weight loss hero and a weight loss coach on the program, which was a fabulous experience with Jordan Banjo and Dr. Sarah Kayat, which was on All 4 for a month, but you should be able to catch it online, the online streaming platforms. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I've done so many things in such a short time. Some days I feel like I'm about 50, and then some days I feel like I'm 18 again and ready to rock. So it's just about finding yourself and getting that balance right.
That's a big contrast though from where you were a few years ago and then now, like where you are now, and you felt your health was that deteriorating that low, and then that badly, and it's here you are today. You're a prime example of how you can change things around and get your confidence back. And in terms of confidence, though, how do you feel that you said yourself you sort of felt very confident growing up? How did you just think you overdone it with the facade of having to be someone else you're not, and then it sort of wore away at you, or did you just sort of did it just come? Did it sort of feel like your troubles just dawn on you out of nowhere?
I was in a situation where the environment was just extremely toxic, and I was just so miserable in the situation that I was in. I moved away from home and for a while, and it was a really, really bad situation, and I just lost who I was through that. I turned to food because I was depressed, so I was eating my feelings. I was eating to fill a void. I was eating to just feel anything but that situation, and it got me health, and I just didn't recognize myself, you know, even before 2016 when I was going through this horrendous time. I look back and I thought in 2010, I performed at the Liverpool Philharmonic Hall. You know, I thought I've done so many things in my life. I've sang at the Cavern Walks in Liverpool 3 times as a solo vocalist. I've done all these things. I've done charity work. I've done events. And I thought, when I was going through that awful time and I lost all my confidence, I thought, oh my gosh, like, where did that person go? Where did that person go who's done all these things, I just lost my confidence, and I never thought I was going to get it back. But one night I thought, this has got to change. I missed the old me. I completely lost who I was, and and I think maybe having dyspraxia did, you know, it was a big factor to that, and the situation I got myself in. But the way I came out of it, I learned myself how to cook, and to this day, tasks with my hands and, you know, balance and rhythm and coordination and stuff, I do struggle with. That is a factor of part of dyspraxia for me that is, you know, that I do battle with. So I had to so it was stuff like watching videos on YouTube, how to chop an onion, how to hold it, how to get the coordination right, because it was slipping out my hand, the onions kept dropping on the floor. The amount of frying pans that we went through in that kitchen where me and my dad were living at the time, oh my lord. But it was the journey, and if I never drop it, and there was loads of times I nearly cut my fingers off. I nearly was in the A&E. The blood was nearly splatting up the walls. It was like a CSI scene, you know, for me chopping like a few onions. But you know what? It was the journey, and I'm so grateful that I had this journey, because I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have learned so much about myself. I wouldn't have achieved what I've achieved already. So I'm so grateful of that. And you know what? I think that if I didn't go through that, my life would be so different today. It would be a whole different way of life. So maybe losing myself for that period of time has made me fall into the right path and land on my feet of where I'm meant to be. And my confidence now is the best it's ever been. It's the best it's ever been. And it feels right. There's no facade. There's nothing put on. I'm just one of these people, you know, if you like me, great. If you don't, that's okay. Move forward.
Yeah, definitely. That's the way to go, isn't it? And it's
absolutely.
It's good you got your confidence back, because obviously we're all determined by that, I guess. It's we can't really be ourselves if we haven't got that confidence. And you know, if you're not confident in yourself, then it's hard to be confident about everything else, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So you said about your childbirth being premature by a month, but it was a natural birth and no real complications as such. And then you moved about quite a lot in your adolescence. Did you feel that may have sort of affected your development growing up, or could you attribute that towards your dyspraxia, do you think, or?
No, I don't think so. I just feel that moving around, it was a lot of stories to tell people. It was a lot of fun things, and I just, you know, when you think back to all the people that you've met and places that you've lived and situations that you've been in, they all make you up to who the person you are. I'm grateful that I got to have that adventure, you know, when I was younger, and it was my motivation and my inspiration to do all the things that I've done and want to go on to do in my life. So I'm grateful of the adventure I did have moving around, and you know, it just builded my character. It built on who I was. So I don't think it really affected I think because with dyspraxia, it is good to have a routine and a rhythm of what you do and a structure in your life. But even though all the things and the hardships and stuff that went on, I've still achieved and still done everything that I've wanted to do so far and what I want to go on to do. So I don't think it alters my childhood or my cycle at all, really. It just made me even more determined to make something of and achieve my dreams. Absolutely.
So you've embraced it and took it in your stride as such then?
Absolutely, and I look back at it like what an adventure, meeting like people. And I remember one time there was like a local pub where I lived, and there was like a tribute act to the Four Tops, and I thought they were the real Four Tops. I was only about 7, and I was like, hello, and he was like, we're from America, like, hey, and I was like, hello, and for years I was like, I met the Four Tops, and people must have been like, did you? And I was like, yeah, I was on stage with the Four Tops. Like, so it was what it was, and I'm grateful of that experience and that journey.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. And you mentioned about your education earlier, about the drama side of things, but in terms of like maths, English, science, geography, PE and stuff like that, were you supported after your diagnosis of dyspraxia, or did
Not
you not get a lot of
really.
help?
Not
No?
really, no. The school systems were aware of my dyspraxia, of course, when you register with a school and stuff like that. So the school system need to know that. But there was no added support really. And I did always struggle with the academia side of school and stuff, and the science and like the maths and stuff like that. I managed to pass my English GCSE the second attempt, but I just spoke to the teacher openly, I think, because I've always been such an out there person. I just said, I was like, I'm really struggling with the English. It was at the time, it was 2011, so it was like the poems and stuff like that, and like there was a poem work. So I pulled it aside, and I was like, and she actually said to me, okay, well, like, we can do some extra sessions. So I did a lot of extra sessions for me English when I was in school, and then I passed the second time, and it felt fabulous. But the maths, the science and stuff like that was a huge struggle for me. I just couldn't grasp it. I just couldn't understand it. I just couldn't, it just wasn't going in. And it wasn't, I'd look down at the paper, and I just was like, what is this? I think I even said in a respectful way, I was so honest with my maths teacher. I just think I said to him one day, I was like, why do we need algebra? Like, what do we need it for? And I wasn't being like rude, or I was just honest. I just really, and I think he really respected that from me. He just said, okay, he was like, I understand. And then for year 11 and stuff, I spent a lot of time in the drama studio in school, the music room. And for PE, we did a lot of like physical stuff in PE. It was a lot of like netball and rounders and like the bleep test. And so I for a while, for like the end of school, I weren't going to PE because I really struggled with the physical, the running and things like that. I just really struggled with it. So I thought, well, this is not for me. So I went to the music room, and I had a very, very good relationship with my music teachers and my drama teacher. So I'd sit in the music room, I'd just go off, I wouldn't go to PE, and nothing came of it. I was happiest there, and I'd listen to music and I'd sing, and it was that I felt like I wanted to utilize my strength and my time learning. And even though I wasn't going to the PE class, I learnt more going to the music room and singing and doing, spending my time there, put my energy into what I'm good at. And I believe that's why I've done all the things that I've done today, because I did that, a huge part of it, and not giving up as well.
I like the comment about the algebra to your teacher, because I said exactly the same thing to my teacher. And the thing about skipping sports PE to do music, extra music, is something I did. I sort of did similar in my GCSE, so I knew I was never going to do well at maths. So when I should have been in a maths exam, I chose to study for an English, and it worked out better for me, because I've always been bad with maths, but it actually helped my English GCSE better. So
it's about being honest though as well, and like just be. I think it worked for me because I was just honest with my teachers. I did always have like a good relationship with my teachers. It was always just like a very honest relationship, and time. So I was honest with them. I think they just really respected that. They knew I wasn't trying to like get out of it, or I wasn't trying to like sit off or fob them off. I was just very real, very honest, and it worked out the way it did. And then I went to Performing Arts College in Liverpool Community College it was called at the time, and I did a level 3 national extended diploma in performing arts. So that was fabulous. I was there for 2 years, and we did all sorts, and I think that gave me a huge push and a huge boost into being a presenter and a performer and stuff like that. I learned so much from that college. I had some fabulous tutors, And so, and then after that, when I've passed that and I graduated from there, I did a level 4 foundation degree in acting. And that was fabulous. It was a lot more harder because it was like writing and Harvard referencing and stuff like that, which I don't know how I grasped, but I managed to somehow pass. And and it was more hardcore, like gritty theatre. So I just sunk my teeth into it. I just embraced it and loved it. So that was fabulous. And then since then, I've been very fortunate to work with some fabulous people, do some fabulous things, and I'm on the right path now of where I'm meant to be and what I'm meant to be doing. So I had a great time in the latter stage of my life with the performing arts and the education, and a great relationship with my tutors. And I was just very honest then. I was very honest about my strengths and my weaknesses. And it's any advice I could give to anyone out there with dyspraxia or hidden disability, and they are struggling in the school system, in the college system, in the work environment, just be honest with your employer or whoever's in charge in that situation. Just be honest with them, have a word, say how you're feeling and how you can move forward in that situation. That's what advice I'd give to anyone.
So what would you change if you had the power to influence teachers and support staff in schools in regards to support for dyspraxia? What would you do if you had that power?
I would, if someone came to me with dyspraxia and was open, yeah, absolutely. I would just listen to the story. I'd listen to how they wanted to move forward and what would help them move forward in that, in the situation. Just listen to them, work together on a routine, a regime, a program to make the classes easier for that person, make the relationship easier with the students and the teacher, and just work out a routine to move forward. Definitely.
Oh, brilliant. So where did you catch the bug for being a performing and creative person? Did you get it quite young, or did it come to you quite in your teenage years or a bit later on?
Well, I remember it was 1999, and he was there. I was sitting in front of the telly, and there was a singer on for this day, I can't remember what singer it was. And it was like she was like a blonde young girl, and she was singing like Christmas songs, but like making them like quite poppy. And I just remember being like fixated. I was just like, oh my God, I really, really, really want to do that. And I remember just sitting in front of the telly, and I turned to my mum and I went, I'm going to do that one day. I went, I can do that. I'm going to do that one day. And my mum went, yeah, you will. And from there, it was just the most natural, authentic thing. And then from when I was young, I started singing. I was the karaoke queen. I remember all like the holidays and stuff, the family holidays, they'd be like 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds singing like Tom Jones, Green, Green Grass of Home. And I'm singing there like Dancing Queen. Like it would just be, I'd be up, to be the first one up. And when I went on holiday when I was little, I think all the bars knew I would be up and I'd be singing. And so it just all came from there. It was just such an organic experience. And yeah, I definitely got bit by the bug at a very, very, very early age. But that was the earliest age. And I remember being about 4 and just being so drawn to this woman on the TV who was singing. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And then so I started out singing. I started out as a vocalist and singing and choir, the school choir and stuff. And then acting just found me. Acting really found me. It just became something more that I fell in love with even more. And so I'd done all the plays and, writing stuff and devising and things like that. And then presenting found me. And I think stemming from such a young age of being such an in there extrovert type of person, it just come organically.
Did your singing voice come naturally and your accents, or did you work on those? Did you have to train for that?
Funny enough, when I started singing, I used to sing really, really quietly, really, really like quietly, because the tone of my voice and the pitch of my voice I'd struggled with for a long time. And I thought when even like, talking to people, it would be quite hard because there was certain like words and phrases I'd really, struggle with to say, and my mouth would like my jaw and like my tongue would just like stiffen up, and struggling getting some like words out and stuff like that when I was really like younger. And I'd always like speak too quick. I'd always talk really, 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 really fast all the time, and I'd be like, oh my God, I need to take a breath. And so it was just about finding ways to like educate myself how to talk slower, and educate myself with like how to speak the words and things like that. So it just all came naturally. And when I was acting and when I was performing and when I'm performing, my speaking is a lot better than like, just like a general like conversation. And I just feel that like I am meant to do it where I'm truly meant to be.
Yeah, that's interesting. And like I find that I can't hear my own sound of my own voice. I can't hear how loud I'm talking and stuff. How do you work that out with when you're doing the accents? Do you have to work? I love
doing accents. Accents come so naturally to me. Me and my dad, we used to do accents all the time. Like it just roll off the tongue. There'd be a time in the day where I don't even think I'd speak in me regional normal accent, the accent that I'd just be coming out with all kinds. I'd be like coming Birmingham, I'd be like, all right, meow duck, or things like that. And like I can even do yours. I can be like, hello MJ. That's you with a cold.
what would you say my accent is? Obviously you might know where I'm from, but where what do you think my accent is? Like
I think you are Scottish. No. It's definitely like Essex way.
Close. It's the other side of the river. It's Kent.
Oh, Kent.
But Kent hasn't really got a dialect. It hasn't really got an accent. It's like it's kind of it's hard to say. Like you like if you was down in Southampton, you wouldn't determine what their accent was either. We got quite a plain sort of London sort of dialect. It's sort of a slowed down London accent, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite interesting that you said it's Essex. A lot of people say that.
It feels like it's there, but same with me though. Like my accent, I feel like there's different levels to it. There's different like levels to it. Like of my accent, it can be really like quite high and low, and sometimes it just depends who I'm talking to. When I see people from years ago, I'm like, yeah, you're right, and then there's certain times when I'm like, hello, and it's just what comes out. I don't know.
I love it. So how did you get into the industry then? So you went to performing arts school and then college rather, and then you sort of got the bug for it. So how did you get from going to college, studying it, performing it, and then getting into the actual field? What was the spark for you? How did that happen?
Yeah, so I took a look when I was going through the worst time that I've been through so far with losing my identity and my weight and my health and stuff. I took a step back for like 2 years. So when I finished college in 2014, I had a lot of time out in that for like 2 years. So when I started to feel better, when I lost the weight and changed my lifestyle and educated myself on food and change my life around, I just got back into it. It's always been a burning desire inside me to perform. I'm a natural performer, so it's always been there, but it was on the back burner for 2 years. And then 2017, I thought, you know what, this is something that I was born to do. It's never ever going to go away. So I got back into it. I applied for a student film online in 2017. And that's what really kick-started me going back into performing, was getting roles in little short films, things like that, building a show reel up, building a repertoire up with people, directors, filmmakers, student filmmakers, and just getting in that, like, back in that circle, making me name again and getting people to know me name and stuff like that. And then just meeting people from projects that are done from around my area, community theatres, stuff like that. And then just building my way into the industry, working with people, having great relationships with people I work with. And then someone else would be like, oh, I know someone who's doing this play. And then it'd be like, oh, I know there's someone who's doing this short film. Can you come down and film this scene? Can you come down? Stuff. It's just about being available, being present, and just having a good work ethic with people. And because I love doing what I do, it's like, oh my God, yes, I want to do it. So I've done that for like 3 years of just building, networking, doing events, things like that. And then I met my partner, who's a filmmaker, and we worked together on our show, which is called Drinks with MJ. Cheeky little plug going on there. And so we created our show, and just being innovative. Every opportunity, I believe there's always an opportunity, and just building up, working with people. And I'm very grateful of a lot of the things that I've done and a lot of people I've worked with and the experiences, definitely.
I hear on your talk show there's only one rule, and that's that drink's compulsory.
Yeah.
So what's your choice of tipple? What would be your ideal drink?
Vodka and Diet Coke, double.
Double, of course.
Well, I was a sugar addict, and it was documented in the papers, the Daily Mail, the Daily Star, and online, and in the TV show Lose Weight Like Me. I was a sugar addict, a self-confessed sugar addict. So I was drinking between 5 or 6 bottles of, if you read the Daily Mail, what drink I was drinking every day. And so, that stemmed from 5 or 6 years old, just loving that. So I think the show that we came up with is just perfect for me, because a drink is compulsory. But it's been 3 years now since I've had a sugary drink. So coming off, that's a huge achievement alone, something that would control my life to where I am now. So 3 years since that time, but I'm grateful at that time because it's led me on where I'm meant to be. But a little it's empty at the minute. It needs refilling shortly, but that's drinks with MJ. So cheers. It's Friday night, why not?
Why not? I love it. So how do you find interviewing people then? Because obviously you you're usually on camera being somebody else or presenting something for somebody. But how do you like getting somebody's psyche and sort of getting to know them or getting to know what they do or their business, etc.? How do you find
being so natural? And I think with Drinks with MJ, with the show, it's just about being natural. And when we go into film and we do a filming session, we do 4 interviews that day. So you can imagine me at the end of it, can't you?
Yeah. for a day.
We do about 4 a day. So
wow.
No, of course, I have like water, and when I'm doing like the interviews and stuff as well, I do take me time with the drink. I'm not absolutely like on the floor, but so I love it. It's just and like when there's a drink involved or people feel like they've got something to like, I feel like people, with my experience, are a bit more relaxed and stuff like that. It just takes that like icing off, pardon the pun. So I love it. I love just getting to know the nitty gritty, and I don't hold back, and I'm very honest with people. I'm very honest with my questions. It's quick fire, it's high energy, and it's just about going in for it, really. And I love it. We've had some great feedback. We've just finished filming season 1, and we're going to be back this year doing season 2, which is going to be even bigger. So I just can't wait. I'm looking forward to getting back out there and doing that. But you can imagine towards the end, it's like, right, lemonade from now on, diet.
Definitely. I just can't imagine doing 4 of these a day. It's quite intense, and obviously you've got to set up the questions, and then you've got to do the editing, and then it's quite a lot, isn't it? And then obviously you're on camera doing yours as well, so that must involve a lot of sort of doing there's makeup involved, and hair.
The huge as a factor. I do like my makeup, but I'm very lucky that I have people who do help me with that and things like that, and like hair and stuff as well. So but it is. But I think that as you're an interviewer, you're a presenter, so yourself. It's just you love doing it. It comes so natural. It's just like you're having a conversation. I just forget. I don't think about the cameras there. I just think I'm in a bar with the person in front of me. We're having a talk. We're putting the rail to white, and we're going for it.
So it must be quite surreal for you to be the other side of the bar, rather than pouring the drink.
Absolutely, but you know what? It's fun as well. It's like woohoo!
So how do you juggle most dyspraxics, like I touched on earlier, don't like change. They love routine, myself included. How do you switch from being like a presenter to modelling to doing acting, then doing influencing work on social media? How do you and then you've got your talk show. How do you juggle it, and also how do you switch between it? Because that would really throw me.
Well, for a while, I hated change. Anything that changed, I was like, oh my goodness. Even you got to a point years and donkeys years ago where if I got a new, I don't know, if something in my room changed, if I changed a photo around or something, I'd be like, oh my God, I don't like this. This is, it just made me feel quite uncomfortable. So I think it just comes with natural growth. It's been a natural growth for me. And I think it's been stemmed from when I was younger, moving around a lot and going from house to house and 3 different schools. If it didn't happen then early on, then maybe I would have been like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. I just think it was a natural growth. And doing all what I do, and the acting, the presenting, the hosting and stuff like that, it just comes naturally to me. it's the most naturalist thing in the world, and I feel that like when you are doing something that's so like natural and you're not putting anything on and it's no like, you know, you're not worried and you know everything, it just I do find the time and I enjoy it. It's very it's very enjoyable, and I'm very lucky that I'm able to do what I do and work with the people that I work with and stuff like that. So it's that type of change is where I'm like, right, I'm okay. It is quite bizarre, but it's fantastic because I used to be so scared of change and so scared of like something falling out of the routine. But I've been faced this year and in 2020 with a life changing. My dad passed away, and my dad was my best friend. He passed away in January 2020 before the pandemic hit.
Oh, sorry
And
to hear that.
and
So
thank you.
that's
And
all right.
so I always thought in my life, if anything ever happened to my dad, my life's over. And when he passed away, I thought just automatically I went into autopilot and I thought, no, I'm not gonna lose everything that I've done, everything that I've had, and the lifestyle that I'm at now, because I know my dad would want that first and foremost, and I don't want to fall back into that. So I just moved forward, and somehow it worked. It was the most natural, organic thing, but it worked, and I'd changed now. I'm like, right, okay. And who's to say in the future something, might change or whatever goes on? We don't know in this life, but I just know that I'll be okay.
So did it help that you consider yourself to be an extroverted dyspraxic? Does that help? Do you think you would have struggled if you was inverted? Like, would that have been a problem for you because all this, like, the change in your life and different work and just the fact that
Absolutely. I think I wouldn't have known any different. I feel like because I was so young, I was like, even before when I was in the womb, I was doing this. I was like cooey to the ultrasound expert. So, I generally just think it is in your makeup. I think you can't be anything other than what you are, because you just can't be anything other than who you are and what you are. And I think because I was born that way, being out there, being who I am, I think it is hard that to think about the other side of it, because I don't think I'll ever know, but I think just being open about my disability was the best thing I've ever done. It really, really was. And the messages and the support that I've had from Channel 4, from from your podcast, from so many people and family, friends, my partner, my mum, being open, I just feel so liberated. And I feel like, you know what, I'm ready now to take on everything else. I'm ready to just push forward and do even more things. But my goal I want to be on the TV presenting. I want to create more awareness for dyspraxia. I want to be like, the first maybe dyspraxic presenter on daytime TV. I want to be a beacon for people who go, you know what, she can do that. She can do that for a younger generation, for an older generation, and I'm going to make it happen.
Brilliant. We'd love to see you on TV doing that for us.
Thank you.
Advocating on TV, that'd be brilliant. And what's to say that you can't do it? You smashed everything else. It's going to happen. Trust me, it's going to happen.
Thank you.
You've touched on your dyspraxia, and you said about how you didn't get help at school. But do you get help now with it in terms of your profession, like if you're modelling or if you're on camera or if you're presenting?
I don't get any help with like day-to-day help. My mum was my mum and dad were huge when I was younger and stuff like that. They were huge help to me and stuff, and with organising like bits in my life and things. But when I go into something new, I'm very honest with people. So I'll go in and I'll speak to the director, or I'll speak to whoever's whoever's like leading the project on the day and stuff, and just be honest. Just say like what where about me dyspraxia. And usually when I'm going into something and I'm doing something, there'll be a talk beforehand. Before you go on the project, a pre-show meeting or something like that. So I'm just very honest then. I let people know, producers or people on the show, and like things like how me dyspraxia might come into play. I'm doing what I'm doing that day, and I'm just very honest with like photographer friends. I'm very honest, and if I can't get something in like a couple of takes, I'm like, right, okay, I'll take time away, have a breather, come back, go again, and just keep going until I get it. So it's just about being open with people and letting them know where you're at, and then once you're open and honest, what else can happen?
Definitely, and it's good to hear that you've had a good response when you've told people as well, like, in your professional career.
People didn't. I think people. I don't think people really expected it though. I think even like now, I think people are like, oh wow, oh okay, you know. It's been a lot of that. It's been a lot like, wow, okay, yeah, you know, like it's like you know, a lot of people wouldn't have guessed, or well, you know, a lot of people are like, well, okay, yeah, like yeah, I wouldn't have known and stuff like that. So it's been a bit of a like, oh okay, it's not been negative or anything like that, but even if it was, it's who I am and it's how it is. And whether you know yourself being a presenter and stuff and being a podcaster, putting yourself out there, you're always going to divide opinions, whether you're doing good or bad. People are always are entitled to their opinion and to say what they want to say, and that's cool. That's the world we live in, and you know, embrace it.
Definitely. Yeah, it's good to hear that you had the positives when you've told people as well. Because I've heard some sort of from fellow actresses and stuff. I've heard some like horror stories where on the podcast where they've said that they've told directors and they've sort of gone down the whole, oh, you mean dyslexia? And then
yeah, I've heard that too. I've heard that like years ago, but I'm just like, no, dyspraxia, baby. That's how I say it.
I love it. So you've also touched on anxiety earlier as well.
Yeah.
How does that affect you? Does it still affect you, or do you have to go down the hand?
Absolutely. I got diagnosed with dyspraxia. Do you know I got diagnosed dyspraxia? I got diagnosed with anxiety around the time I got me dyspraxia diagnosis. And I remember always having like nightmares and things like that. I had terrible nightmares. And I remember when I was having one of my assessments with the dyspraxia when I was very, very small, and I was telling the doctor about these nightmares and these angst, stuff like that. And so I've always had anxiety and like depression and things like that. And, you know, definitely, you know, these things don't go away. There's no magic pill that you can take and it goes away and stuff like that. But I think the older I've got, it's about how I manage and how I find my mechanisms to cope, move forward. And I think because because I've been diagnosed now and aware of this for over 20 years, it's like, you know, I know my mind now, and I know if I'm on a day where I'm up and it's really heightened, and I know when I'm like, right, I'm good and I'm ready to rock, you know, firing from all cylinders, let's go for it, baby. Wow. And I know when I'm like, no, and I step back. I'm at a point now in my life and who I am. If I'm feeling that way, I step back, I rest, step back, and then go 10 times harder the following day, or, you know, further down the line. It's just about identifying my feelings and just knowing my feelings. And I'm at a point now. And I think you must know yourself as well. You know, if you're up and you're for being 20 years. So we've grown up with dyspraxia. So it's just about knowing how I'm feeling on the day and finding a way and a ritual to cope with that. And I haven't done so bad so far.
So you're quite outgoing and quite extrovert and bubbly. Is there ever a time when you're kind of like downbeat and moody and sulky? Is that in your DNA, or are you always chirpy?
Of course there is. Like, you know, there's days like yesterday, funny enough, I felt really, really like down yesterday. I just felt like, you know, it just happens. I felt, and it got to like 7:00 at night, and I just didn't know what to do with myself. And, you know, my story's been out there in the press, it's been out there online, and it's been across the world. And if I felt 4 years ago, if I felt depressed, down, angst, anything, you know what, it even got to a point when I was happy. When I was happy, I was eating and stuff like that. And, you know, I was just eating. So if I would have felt like this 3 or 4 years ago, the way I felt yesterday, I would have ate my feelings. I would have been eating food. I would have been like binge eating, emotional eating, which is part of my story. But when I felt the way I felt yesterday, down, out, I just stayed off my phone. I stayed off social media. I listened to some music. I just lit a few candles. And I just sat there and I just thought, tomorrow's a new day and I'll be okay. I know I'll be okay. And it's about just like living through the anxiety, living through the feeling, embracing it, identifying it, and never, ever, ever suppress my feelings. If I'm feeling low, I will never, ever hide it. I'll always just embrace it. And because I think I've done that in the past, and it's a very dangerous thing, in my opinion, to do, to suppress it and to go, no, I'm fine when you're not. So them days, of course, you know, they happen a lot, sometimes more than you'd like, but it's just about now being aware and going, right, have a nap, do what I feel like doing, take time away from social media and just get myself through it. Absolutely.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's always good to come off social media for sure. Especially, well, it's quite interesting to hear an influencer say that as well, because it's like it goes to show that it can affect everybody, regardless
Of course,
if you're the one behind the screen or on screen. It's important to take a break away from it as well.
I think so. I think there was a long time when I was like, I just don't want to be on social media. I just don't want to. I just don't enjoy it. And then I thought, it's our business. It's what we do. So it's just about taking I'll make sure in the week I take a couple of days away from social media and I have that break. And then I carry on. But absolutely, time away from it is so important. And to just be present in the moment as well. Being present, talking around the dinner table, talking with people, just being present in the moment. I know everyone might like to take photos of the drinks or the food. I know that's like a huge craze right now, but I've learned to go, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sit, whoever I'm sitting with, my partner, my boyfriend, my family, and just move, just enjoy the moments. That's a huge, important thing to me.
So how do you adjust this in, like, when you're using social media to promote your work and influence? How do you know when to do it for personal and for work? Is it easy to switch, or do you just do it how you do it?
So I set up a Lose Weight the MJ way, which was a huge factor of my weight loss, and I set up, putting little meals on and stuff like that. But my performing arts and everything that I've always been, it kind of took over. And to be honest with you, I really enjoyed being the presenter and that side of it, because it's a more important for me. It's done a lot for my soul. So I post, so I just break it down. If I'm being on social media, it's just about being real. It's just about not painting a picture of what you want people to see, just being open and honest. There's no such thing as a perfect photo. There's no such thing as a perfect post. It's a fantasy. It doesn't exist. So I just like to be real. And 2021 and 2020 was the year of doing that for me. Absolutely.
Definitely. So you made the worldwide news, as you said, about your lifestyle transformation as it went global.
Yeah.
You was featured in newspapers, magazines, and online after you lost the 8 stone in weight. That's remarkable, of course. But how did you get that story out there? Who took it from you? And it's amazing how it went. It spread like wildfire.
It exploded. Yeah. I put a photo on Instagram. I'd never, when I started out losing weight, I never ever done it for anyone else. I done it for me. I done it to change my health, and that was the most forefront and important thing. And I always talk about that today. I done it to change my health and kick my health in touch. So I started losing the weight and stuff, and I just done it for me. Just told my dad. My dad was he was the core and the backbone of my weight loss, and the reason I am still here today and doing what I do. So so when I started losing weight, I was like, oh my God. But I just done it for me, and then people in the streets would tell me, people would be like, oh my God. Like, there was a time the postman, I was coming out the house and the postman went, oh, but yeah, you haven't half lost some timber. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, thank you very, very much. It was just, so stuff like that. It was a lot of a lot of people noticed it straight away. So that was very grateful of that. And then I really enjoyed my process. I think that's why my weight loss and my lifestyle transformation has been so successful, is because I put my heart, I put me feet, I put everything into it. I put the whole of me into it, my spirit, everything. And that's why it's been so successful, because I really enjoyed it. I didn't know what I was going into. I didn't think it was gonna, I just didn't know. So and then I started putting little things online, oh, I've lost 2 stone now, or I've lost 3 stone, 4 stone, and then it went to 5 stone, 6 stone, 7 stone, 8 stone, so people started noticing it. And I put a photo on Instagram, and a press agency contacted me from Manchester, and spoke to me, and we were emailing for a while, and I'd phone calls, and when I was liaising with the journalists and the press and stuff like that, I had to sign some forms. And then I was going out, I was like, right, okay. And then I was going out, and then I had a message on Instagram of someone saying, hello, I've just seen you in the DM. So I was like, DM? I just was like, what's DM? And then I got loads of people following and things like that. And I was like, oh my God. And then a guy who was in my school actually messaged me, and he was like, you're on front page of the Daily Mail. I was like, oh my God. So it was just, and I had people from Texas. I had a 70-year-old guy from Texas saying that he read my story and he was like, I hope you have a wonderful life. People in Australia, New Zealand, it's just been incredible. And I'm just so grateful of that. And it went into the Daily Star on Sunday. It was a whole exclusive Take a Break magazine, Love It magazine. And of course, Lose Weight Like Me, the new Channel 4 TV show on Channel 4. So I've been so grateful. I've been so lucky, and it's been such an incredible journey. And I'm so grateful for the journey that I've had and the people I've met along the way.
So how did the Channel 4 thing come about? So you took your time out to be a mentor and hero for fellow people trying to lose weight on the TV show. How did that come about? And did you enjoy that experience?
It was a fabulous experience and something that I feel so grateful. And it was a pilot as well. It was the first ever episode of the shit of Lose Weight Like Me. So being a mentor and being, classed as a weight loss hero it's just fantastic. I'm so grateful. So yeah, I saw something online about this and the new show Lose Weight Like Me, and it was funny. It was like a magnet effect, because as I was writing out to the contact details on what I saw online, the producer was writing out to me, so we were like two magnets coming together. So as I was writing out, like, oh, and then as he was like, so it was like, so we both come in together, and it was like, oh my God, hello, like that. And then I went through the process, and we filmed the show Lose Weight Like Me last year, and it was the host Jordan Banjo and Dr. Sarah Kaya from This Morning, and it was just it was such an inspirational show, because it's real to what it is. It's not just something to put out there for 45 minutes of like reality. It's real people. Us four weight loss heroes, we've all lived it. We've all been there on the worst day of our lives. Our health and our weight has took us to some of the worst days of our lives, and we've overcome that. We've had some of the best times of our lives, and we all lost weight in 4 different ways. So it was myself and 3 other weight loss heroes and 2 contributors who wanted to change their life, and the 2 contributors have just done fantastic. They've changed their life around, and I've made really good friends with the other 3 weight loss heroes who are just lovely, fantastic people. So it was just a generally fantastic time, and I'm very, very grateful for.
That must have been amazing, like you say, and it's very inspiring to hear how you've shared your story.
Thank you.
And it's inspired other people, because I would say I struggle with my weight, and I've tried Slim and Weld in the past year before the pandemic, and it wasn't for me. And I read that you started with Slim and Weld as well.
I went to a few sessions, yes, of course. I went because that's the first thing people, the majority of the time comes off people's tongue, isn't it? When you try Slim and Weld, try, Weight Watchers, other stuff like that. So I did go to like about 5 sessions, and I did get, I got about just under a stone off, something like that. But I like you said, I didn't enjoy it. It just didn't feel, it just didn't. And I thought, why am I doing this? So I left, and I educated myself on food through YouTube videos. I learnt myself how to prepare food. And when I say I learnt myself how to cook and I educated myself on food, I'm talking like basic food, simple meals. I'm not Heston Blumenthal. I'm not the best cook in the world, and I'm not trying to be, but I learned, and I never gave up. It's about being tenacious. It's about going into it, not giving up. Even on the, there was days where I thought, I just want to eat a KFC. I want to eat a KFC. I want to sit in bed. I want to watch telly, and that's it. And then I thought, right, you've just said that, now grow up and be who you really are. And then I got up and I was making little meals and stuff like that. And I just learned, and that's why I'm here today, because of that, because I never gave up. And even though it was, it was hard, I nearly lost my fingers certain times. And, it was one time I had to go to the A&E because I burnt my hand. But even when I did burn my hand through, the coordination, I still could have gone, I've burnt my hand's in a bandage. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to give up. But I carried on. And that's why I'm here today. 8 stone lighter. Bada bing, bada boom.
Well, if I want to say, I've definitely been inspired, but you've sort of given me a bit of a headache in this household, because now I've been told to get on the old treadmill and eat better. So now I've got to curb my sugary intake and chocolate and takeaways.
It's so tough. It's not as just easy as curb, it's like someone saying, like, oh, stop drinking that, or Stop doing that. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. Like for my mum and dad, there was things said to me and stuff, and that they said stuff to me about me weight, but the penny didn't drop because I didn't want to do it. I wasn't in the right time in my life, in my headspace, and who I was to lose weight and change my life. Something had to happen. Unfortunately, it got to a point with me where my health was deteriorating to the point of not coming back. But I like to think now, you know, I got in the right time and stuff like that. But you've got to do it when you feel right. You can't do it when you're going through something personally. You've got to do it when it feels right to you. Definitely. So do it when you're ready if you want to do it.
Definitely. And it's interesting that you said you still can take, if you choose to, have cheat days and just, you know, you can.
Absolutely. And enjoy them. Oh my God, I enjoy them so much.
Yeah, don't we all? But yeah, so it's like, you can do that. You haven't got to do the diets like Slimming World or the Cambridge diet where they say you can't have this, you can't have that. I found myself on a Slimming World diet where I couldn't eat white bread, and then when I was eating the wholemeal bread, I couldn't have just I couldn't have 2 slices. I only had to have 1, and I found that quite difficult when I was having beans on toast. Like, because I found myself thinking,
have 2. Come on, you've got to have 2. The best of British.
Exactly. I was thinking to myself, it's bad enough I'm eating wholemeal bread, but now you're telling me I can only have 1.
Don't kick him out while he's down.
I know. So you touched on earlier about cutting onions up, and you got the inspiration from knowing how to do it properly on YouTube. Yeah. I actually was the same. I found a Gordon Ramsay video, and since then I can cut onions better than my girlfriend. And it's quite amazing how if you just watch somebody who, in your own time, where you can pause and start it, where they're not telling you how to do it themselves, they're just giving you where they're not bossing at you. You're just watching them in your own time. You can get it. Whereas I think in real life, if someone was next to you and they're saying, "Oh, cut the onion like this," no, not that, no, like this, you're just going to give up because you're not going to be able to get it in their time. Whereas it's in your own time.
Fabulous now as well, though, that a lot of stores, and I'm really, I've spoken a lot about this a lot, but a lot of the supermarkets now are catering with pre-chopped foods. Pre-chopped onions, pre-chopped mushrooms, pre-chopped vegetables, which is fantastic. And to be honest, when I first started changing my life, there wasn't a lot of that. There wasn't, it was like 3 years ago. The supermarkets have gone fantastic now. There's so much diversity for people, which is amazing. So amazing with the diet and the food. But there's a lot of things now that are like easier to make for people who would like us who struggle with coordination and stuff. So when I was losing the weight and changing my life, there was just like the onions and things like that. But over time, when my journey was growing, I thought, oh, they do pre-chopped, pre-sliced mushrooms now, and they do pre-sliced onions, and I thought this is fantastic. So it's great now. The world's absolutely changing. But when I first started losing weight, it was a bit more like, you know, with the diversity, it wasn't still there where it is today. But it's great that they have that diversity and options for people today. And I always get the pre-chopped stuff. I'm like, oh.
It's interesting because they are making headways with like pre-chopped vegetables and stuff like that. But I've had some people come to me and say they're doing that in the freezer section, but if you go to the tins where beans or tomatoes are, they're still not. They're still, you've got to open them up with the tin opener. They're not with the little hoops. You have to.
Yeah.
So they're still behind in terms of some part of the store, but they're making headways elsewhere. It's like
let's get on the phone. Let's get on the phone and put them to rights, shall we?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Funny enough, you say that. I actually learned a few weeks ago how to open a tin of salmon. I love salmon; it's the best thing in the world. And I actually learned the other day how to do it, and I got it right because for years. There was one time, I was actually on my weight loss journey. I wanted a tuna salad, and it was what you've just said. It was that, you know, without the ring pull. So I actually took the tuna off the cupboard. Knocked on the neighbour's door.
I love it. I
knocked on the neighbour's door, and asked them to open the tin of tuna for me. And he did, but he must have got the shock of his life. He was like, "Oh, yeah, sure, like, do you know what I mean?" But I thought, and if that's not giving up, if that's what you call, I never gave up. And if he wouldn't have answered, I would have went to the other fella next door or the old lady down the road to open the tin of tuna. But I did. I was so determined to not give up.
So But see, neurotypical people go next door to ask for sugar. See, neurodivergent people ask to open tins of salmon and tuna. That's classic. I love that. That's going to get around online now. You do know that, don't you?
Oh no. But it's the story, the moral behind that is, believe me, baby, I didn't give up. I just knocking at every single neighbour like Brilliant.
So in terms of not giving up, though, you say how you got to grips with food labels, nutrients, and sugar content.
Yeah.
How do you like cope with that? There's a lot of time to invest in researching and looking at tins, packaging online. Yeah. I would struggle with that immensely. I would find that frustrating.
Yeah.
How have you found that?
It's the traffic lights. The first thing I do is when I go into a shop, I look at the traffic lights. The labels at the bottom, the red, the green, the yellow. So I always look when I go in. If it's a red, I don't pick it up. I'm like, no, thank you. But I enjoy it. I find it really, really, really pleasurable. I really enjoy Friday night, Saturday day, in the supermarket, head in the freezer or, in the beans aisle, looking at the labels. And, I love doing that. I find it really, really enjoyable. So I think that is why my journey has been so successful, because I do enjoy it. And something just came over me 3 years ago where I thought, oh my God, I find this so interesting. I love looking at labels. It's not a chore to me. It's not a task. Something I feel good doing and I enjoy doing. I said to my boyfriend, then when we first got together, I was like, the next date we can go to the Aldi and we can spend a couple of hours walking down the aisles, looking at the labels. And he was like, and so funny enough, he loves looking at labels now as well. He loves looking at the labels as well now, and that was what I was talking about when I was on Channel 4, when I was on Lose Weight Like Me. I said, if I get matched up, we're going to be down the shops on a Friday, looking at the labels down the high street. So I love it. I really enjoy that, yeah.
Oh,
it can be annoying though at times, but when some don't have the label, it's not very clear, but I found a way.
Well, that's a really good point you made there, because when I started Slimming World, I was only there for a few weeks. I made a point to their social media team saying, well, when I'm going around the shop, it's hard for me to determine if it's a Slimming World approved product, if you use it in part of your diets and stuff. And I said, well, why don't you have a barcode scanner so I know it's part of the Slimming World, so I know how many I can't remember what they call it now. Sins, how many sins, thank you, I'm allowed. And a week later, they was like, yeah, we'll bring it out next month. And I think, wow. I don't know if that's down to, I can't say it's down to me or not, but I gave that idea to social media, to their social media team.
Yeah, it is. Say, thank you.
I know, where's the check? But no, I haven't got nothing back for that yet. But I'd like to think it was my inspiration.
That's brilliant.
That if you're a dyspraxic wanting to go on a Slimming World diet, that would be the kind of assistance you'd need, I find. Yeah. And it's a case of, if you're going on a diet, any diet anyone chooses to go on, and they find that it doesn't accommodate them, I don't see why they shouldn't, get in touch with their relevant teams and say, no, could you make this a bit more accessible for my needs? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was like that with me, because for years I never had a clue about food. I never had a clue what I was eating. I never had a clue what, about portion control, things like that, and spending hours looking at YouTube videos and just watching things online and the way people chop and just the nutrients going into food, it became really addictive. So I actually changed. I went from being like a food addict and like a binge eater to someone who's really interested in the nutrients and stuff like that. So in the future, I'm definitely going to come back to Lose Weight the MJ way, about food guidance, simple meals for weight loss and maintaining weight. Definitely going to come back in the future with Lose Weight the MJ way. And yeah, I love doing that even to this day. Looking at labels is a huge factor of my weight loss. And, I've had people tell me from all walks of life, oh my God, now they do a low sugar tomato ketchup, and now they do low sugar tins of beans. And they were like, thank you so much for teaching, showing us that the labels are so important, so it's just been fantastic. I've had so many amazing comments, so much amazing feedback, and it just shows you that whatever you're going through, whatever the situation is, anything can happen, and I'm a firm believer of that. Absolutely.
Oh, brilliant. So I find that you've inspired a lot of people, including myself. But
Thank
who inspires you, or what inspires you?
My dad, he was my best friend. He was my huge inspiration. One night he was seeing me, you know, like doing me little meals, and probably on YouTube, but like my phone balanced on like a tin of beans or something like that, you know, because I was just determined, or on a spatula. And he went, "Why don't you set up? You know, you're so good at this. You've got it." And this is when I lost about 7 stone, you know, 6 or 7 stone. He went, "Why don't you? You should get online and, you know, educate people." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And then one night we were just like, "Do you know what, let's do it." And we were thinking of like a name, we were thinking of like something, and he was like, "Why not like lose weight the MJ way?" And it was like, yeah, it's got a ring to it. So he was the huge factor. And when I had nothing, when I was going through a really bad time with my personal life and I had nothing, he actually paid for my food shopping. He would actually get like an Asda delivery or something, and he'd get like 2 things, and he'd give me like £30 to get like fruits, vegetables, you know, foods that I liked. So when I had nothing, he paid for my food shopping. He educated me. Even my first couple of Slim and World classes, he gave me the £5 to go when I was really struggling with money and, you know, to get my life back on track. So he is today my inspiration, and in the future I'm going to set up an organisation in my dad's name, and so there's so many things that I'm going to be doing, which I'm like really excited for.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. I can't wait to see that happen. That'd be brilliant.
You.
No worries. So what would you say then that you still struggle with dyspraxia as of now? Is there certain things that you struggle with? Like for me, it's walking into door frames, or not opening up tins of tuna. What for you is the hardest thing about dyspraxia?
It's the task with my hands, like the everyday, the rhythm, the balance, the routine, you know, things like that. It's just the function skills I struggle with, doing things with my hands, tasks with my hands, picking things up, holding things, my handwriting, just stuff that, like, when I got diagnosed 20 years ago, stuff that everything that I got diagnosed with still today. So that holds that everything when the doctor diagnosed me when I was 5, today, still to this day, is what I struggle with. So that, you know, my handwriting, basic, like, you know, everyday skills can be challenging, but it's just about finding a way to move forward with that. And I never just stay. I always try and move forward in any way that I can.
What are your dyspraxia positives? What do you take from dyspraxia that's positive in life?
It's just made me who I am today. It's made me it's made me MJ. It's made me the person who I am today. It's made me want to never give up. It's my person. It's made me who I am. And I, as I say, you know, we were born with dyspraxia, but it doesn't stop. It might maybe put a pause on a few things or delay a few things, or, you know, things like that. But I've still achieved what I've achieved at 25. So there's so many positive. It's made me who I am. It's made me a storyteller, as a performer. It's made me the person I am today, talkative, outgoing, and just someone who enjoys life. So I don't look at it as something that defines me. It's never, ever held me back in being who I am. And for that, I am thankful.
Oh, smashing. So you burst onto the scene in terms of dyspraxia awareness and advocating for dyspraxia, and rightly so. It's tremendous work you're doing.
Thank you.
What would you encourage other people to open up and use their voice to advocate for dyspraxia?
Absolutely. I think life is just so short, and to not truly be who you want to be and who you are. And I think for 20 years, it's not that like I never like hid it away, but I just never ever spoke about it. And I probably was, you know, nervous, and I was thinking, I think we all think, what are people going to think? What are they going to say? But I think coming to being so self-assured and knowing who I am now, I definitely would say to anyone going through or feeling like just nervous or frightened or worried about what people think. And if people do act a certain way to you, opening up about who you really are, they aren't people that you want around you, and they aren't people who you want to move forward with in your life and you need around you. So if anyone is coming out and speaking openly about dyspraxia, and someone acts in a negative way or acts in negative terms, look, I'd look at that as, well, thank God, because you know, your true colours have came out, and I don't want to move forward with that person in my life. So it is a blessing, really, as well, if someone, you know, to find out people's true colours and people's true intentions. But for me, I've been very fortunate that the people around me love me even more, you know, so I'm very, 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 very grateful of that.
Amazing. So what you got planned for 2021 away from your talk show, going back to your acting, modelling, presenting work? What you got lined up?
So me and my partner plan to move into our own place, which we're really looking forward to doing that. And I want to do a lot of traveling. There's a lot of countries that I want to go to. I'd love to go to New York and just get on the look at the Broadway scene, and you know, all things like that. Travel a lot more, and move into a place with my partner, build our life together, and you know, get back out there with people and do everything that I'm used to doing and things like that. Growing with dyspraxia awareness. There's a lot more awareness for dyspraxia that I want to do, a lot more campaigning, a lot more online stuff, a lot more like media work with dyspraxia. So it's very exciting. I'm very excited for the future. I really, really am. It is a really, really, really hard time. But what I've learned, that you've just got to keep yourself moving forwards, even through it, even in the crap storm, you know.
Definitely. And I can't wait to see what you get up to in the next 12 to 18 months and onwards. It'll be good to see. So the final question for you is, I'll put you on the spot, is where can we find you on social media and online?
Yeah, so I am on social media, and my Instagram is I am MJ Carter, and that is I am EMJ Carter. And my show, Drinks with MJ, gulp, 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 is I am on YouTube, and it's Drinks with MJ. And I'm on Facebook as well. We have a Facebook page, Drinks with MJ. So the first set of interviews are on there, the first series. So if anyone is interested, then please check it out, and hope you enjoy it. So yeah, Instagram and Facebook, Drinks with MJ, and my personal is I am MJ Carter.
Oh, well said. You've sold that really well. Love that.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me. I've had a fabulous time.
Struggling with your DIY, we can do it for you. Decorating, tiling, window care, bathrooms, kitchens, en-suites too. Commercial and industrial, RFDPM does it all. Roofing, fencing, landscaping, why not give us a call? RFDPM, covering the southeast of England. Please call 07958 249 781 for a free, no obligation quotation. Don't let the blues or the lockdown rules get you down. Join the cardio boom. Come along to our twice weekly Dyspraxic online workouts on Zoom. Participation is 100% free of charge and is brought to you courtesy of Dyspraxic Health for You Fitness and myself, Dyspraxic Cardio King Mike, aka Mike Nelson. For more information on how to take part in a group exercise that is tailored to your fitness and ability, just search for Dyspraxic Cardio King Mike, as well as Dyspraxic Fitness on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Or you can email me at dyspraxiccardioKingMike@gmail.com.